Hello, everyone. How are you doing this afternoon? We have a very special guest here. Oh my God, the first guest in quite some time on the Adult Thumbs channel. It's Kevin Hainline. You may know Kevin as Rubik's Cube. Kevin is, Kevin, I'll let you introduce yourself, but Kevin's an astronomer. We're going to play Space Engine. Yes, Toby looks very different. But yeah, Kevin, please tell us what you do right off the bat. I want to know all of the things that you do.
Yeah, so hi everyone. It's weird for me as well to be here and not over in the chat. Welcome to Tucson where I live. There's no Toby, but as I was saying to Nick, you have my cat. There's Jesus Louisiana back there. She's gonna chatter with the birds right now because she's in full bird watching mode. I'm an astronomer here at the University of Arizona. I've been here for almost 5 years. I'm a professor now, as of like a couple months ago. And what I work on is the James Webb Space Telescope, which is the successor to the Hubble Space Telescope. I work on the main camera, and I work specifically on getting ready for an incredibly deep survey. So maybe, Nick, you've heard of the Hubble Ultra Deep Field or the Deep Field. Well, James Webb will develop a version of that like is significantly bigger and deeper and in the infrared and at a higher resolution. And I work on that survey, which is called JADES. And I am the person on that survey who has to figure out right now the science behind taking the images of the galaxies and figure out how far they are. So at some point, I will know the farthest galaxy humans have ever discovered. That's my specific job on this team. But the research that I do outside of that is, and this is what I have a grad student, we work on this, is I think about supermassive black holes in distant galaxies. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we go to see the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. But I work on what are called AGN or quasars, and we can chat about that for a while. But I've been here for a while, and I really like astronomy. I really like Space Engine, and I think it's a really cool tool for looking at like things that and looking at the scale of the universe in a way that it's very hard to do otherwise.
So Kevin, just to back up a second here. So do you specifically work for the Jet Propulsion Lab? Is that correct?
No,
you don't.
So the James Webb Space Telescope is a joint between NASA and the European Space Agency. The Jet Propulsion Lab is one branch of NASA located in Pasadena. NASA set out like a decade and a half ago, saying, hey, universities or science institutions, put together proposals for the instruments on this telescope. And the University of Arizona, under my boss, Dr. Marcia Ricci, who worked on Hubble and worked on Spitzer, she's like the mother of modern infrared astronomy. She put in a proposal for this camera. That proposal was accepted. And so NASA gives the University of Arizona funds, and then she divvies those funds out to her team. So I'm paid, I'm a NASA, like I work for NASA through the University of Arizona. So I'm a University of Arizona employee who works for NASA, but I don't work at JPL or anywhere. If I do work at a NASA facility, in the last couple of years, I've had to work at Goddard Space Flight Center, which is outside of Baltimore. And then I was at Johnson. I was at Johnson when Hurricane Harvey hit. I was stuck there. And like there was one of my favorite little moments of this whole project was when I'm stuck at Johnson Space Flight Center, and I got to sneak from the building we were doing testing in over to Historic Mission Control at like 3 in the morning when no one else was there. It was like literally me in this building, like in Historic Mission Control, because my badge got me into various things. It was pretty sick. That's
amazing. Oh my God. That's kind of mind blowing. I'm so envious. So just real quick before we start our little tour here, I casually know about the James Webb, but can you explain what the James Webb Telescope is, just like physically, like what the thing is, and then what its mission is, for people who aren't super.
So currently orbiting our planet is the Hubble Space Telescope. It's been up there for 30 years, since 1990. I'm an old human being. And
to me, the 80s are 20 years ago. So it's,
exactly right. It's always going to be the 80s or 20 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, so for 30 years, it's been orbiting our planet, just like it's much closer than we are. You know how far it's orbiting because presumably you've seen Gravity, where we sent Sandra Bullock up there to replace a camera because she's an optical scientist, I guess. But the telescope, when it was designed with a 2.4 meter mirror, which is pretty big, but not. But like at the time they launched it, they said we should make a bigger version, and they said, well, we'll make one cheap and big, and we'll probably make it in a different wavelength band than what Hubble could look at. but then it turns out that it became a huge, more expensive thing. And the version that eventually, after all of the discussion and all of the science planning, is James Webb, which is a 6.5 meter mirror. So it's an incredibly huge mirror. It's segmented gold hexagonal segments. It will launch and sit 1 million miles from the Earth on the other side of the moon. We can actually fly to Lagrange point 2. I don't know if Lagrange point 2 is built into this, but it's like, if you were to go to the moon right now and then look at the Earth, you'd only be like a quarter of the way to where James Webb is going to sit, and it's going to sit there and observe the universe in the infrared. Because it has a bigger mirror, it'll be able to take the same amount of light in less time that Hubble did, because like a bigger mirror is a bigger light bucket, and the mirror means that the resolution is better, and it's in the infrared. Hubble is an ultraviolet, optical, and optical and a little bit of near infrared telescope, and James Webb is designed to be entirely infrared, and that matters. And I'll talk about it a little bit why it matters when we fly around through some dust. But also for the farthest galaxies, their light is redshifted, meaning it's stretched to longer wavelengths, and all of the stuff that is really helpful for science is in the optical generally, and it gets stretched out all the way. Well, the UV and optical, it gets stretched out into the infrared, meaning that if you wanted to find the farthest galaxies, Hubble cannot actually see them, and that's like a long explanation that like is not, I don't want to get into right now, but like essentially you need an infrared telescope. So James Webb is designed for this. On top of that, infrared is also where, if you're looking for distant planets to see if there's atmosphere evidence of life, a lot of the features in an atmosphere that are indicative of life are in the infrared, like methane or water, or these sorts of things, ozone. And so James Webb will just like, when it launches and gets up there and opens up, because it's a complicated opening pedal with this sun shield, it will like change astronomy over the next decade that it's up there. It's going to be really incredible. And
it launches when again?
Ideally, March of 2021.
You think that's been kicked back now?
There's been no official word on that because of safety. A lot of the workers who are working on it right now, the telescope's at Northrop Grumman. You can go to like its Instagram page and see pictures of it right now, because they've assembled the whole thing and they're currently opening it up and making sure that everything opens up correctly. And they're going to close it, put it in a thing, and shake it like it's about to be launched, and then open it back up again.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and like when they open it up again, that's when we have to go to Northrop and get our official, and then we'll have to drive up to JPL to get our official NASA badges, which is really exciting to get like my official, like I have versions of NASA badges that are like temporary ones, but this will be like my, full background check NASA badge, which like is like a giant check mark on my childhood list of dreams. Anyway, we should play the game, man.
Yeah, let's play the game. Let's get into it. So I was just messing around here for a second, trying to keep the visual interest going. But so here we are at the moon, or the Earth rather.
Yep.
And I know my planets, Kevin. Don't try and test me. So yeah, how would you like to begin?
So I think that what we should do is we should start on the Earth, and how about you land like, I don't know, San Francisco?
Sure. I can attempt. Here, let's maybe we should change the time scale so that we can get San Francisco. Time.
It's true. That's the best time to look at the stars.
God damn it! All right, fine, whatever the astronomer wants. All right. We'll go down here. Let's see. That's probably San Francisco.
Yeah, sure.
Here,
the thing is that when you land on San Francisco, this is good enough. Like sometimes if you land in San Francisco or big major cities in Space Engine, it'll like show all of the light from the city will be just this smeared out texture on the ground here.
Yep.
It's fine.
It's
so
fine.
now
okay.
If you change the time scale so it's not trying to change time, like I guess is it at the correct time scale? I think you're going a little faster.
Okay. I'll just
should change it to just like either pause it or now.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically paused. Yeah.
All right. So this is what it would look like from a plate of cheese in San Francisco at night. And like what I like to do starting here is let's I'm not going to test you, but can you point north and see, like we can turn the constellations on in a second, but like let's get our bearings.
Okay.
Because it'll help us when
do I have is there a compass here? Oh, I guess it's probably.
You don't need a compass, you got the stars.
Oh my god. All right. Well, where's Polaris? Okay.
If you want, you can click
set
on
that
the right.
Marker. All right.
You can click on the right. On the far right, there's like a little constellation button.
Okay. So this should be north, right? North Star. Wait, no. Okay, it's over there.
If you look up.
Yeah. North Star.
Whoa. Is that the North Star?
No?
Why is it so far away from the horizon? It should not be that far from the horizon. Oh, apparently that is.
Oh, no, wait, you know what? My Zoom wasn't recent.
Oh, okay. There you
go.
go.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. All right. That makes more sense. So then in this case, you can see the Little Dipper down below it, right? Curving below it. Those two bright stars that are like directly below it are called the Guardians of the Pole because they protect the pole star in some mythology from the dragon that's actually... You can trace the dragon underneath. It's well, not those ones, just above it. Like you can.
Oh, just above. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So like, go and click on the constellation button on the right, on the panel on the right.
Constellation.
It's just like it looks like a little chair.
There we go. Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah. So now you can see and trace out. There you go. So Draco here, the dragon. And those pole stars are right next to the U of Ursa. And they essentially protect it. But also on the other side, you can find the Big Dipper just to the right of Draco. And the Big Dipper currently is a little bit below the horizon. But you can find, if you can find Doobie and Merak, which are in the bucket. They're the two stars that point towards the pole star. All right, so this is like the boring aspect of Space Engine, that you can turn on the constellations and do this kind of boring thing. If you go to the south, you're currently looking north. If you look south, hopefully we can find, depending on what time of year you're currently sitting at. I don't know if you're looking at this right now or, based on how long you let that go.
Right.
But ideally, it's the winter, and we can still see. So if you look up a little bit, we want to find Orion, which is,
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, so there's Canis Major, so Orion should be just up a little bit. Perfect, right? So now turn the constellations off. This is going to be where we are. I want to start our, looking at stuff. So Orion is really pretty, and I want to showcase some of the things of Space Engine. There's Betelgeuse. We'll talk about Betelgeuse in a bit. If you haven't been studying, looking up at Betelgeuse, I don't know if you're familiar. In January, it dimmed by 2.5 times and then brightened back up because it probably barfed out some dust. Stars, especially late in their life, get a little gassy, and they can outflow big quantities of dust and gas, which is helpful because you and I are made of that stuff that's barfed out of stars. We tend to say it in a lot prettier way. We're made of stardust as opposed to star fart, but
right. No, I prefer the latter, I think.
Yeah. What I want you to do now is, so you can see the belt, right?
This being the belt here.
I have the weight. I'm a little bit laggy.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But the belt, there's the belt.
Yeah.
And then the sword beneath it. This is something you can see with your naked eye, even from the city. If you were to go out tonight and it's clear in San Francisco, you can see this tonight. And then the sword is the three little dots below. Click on the middle dot.
Okay. Am I not on the middle dot here?
Sorry. Wait. Of the sword, it's red. You've zoomed in a little bit on my version.
Sorry.
So that's the belt you're looking at, and there's it looks like a red cloud. That red cloud is the
I see.
Orion Nebula. And if you were to go and now zoom in on the nebula there, you can see. So now you've got you're looking right now at the Flame Nebula, and then below it is a red cloud as well. But to the right, above your head on my screen, is the Orion Nebula, which is in the sword, which is dangling below the belt.
I think it's just. Oh wait, are we talking about over here? Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I thought this is a color issue because on my screen it looks a little pink.
Yeah, sorry, it's pink. Yes. So that right there, if you now go into the bottom right and change the exposure settings, you can crank up the exposure and showcase the fact that what you're actually looking at when you look at this object from the Earth, and you can see this as a little fuzzy thing. You can see everyone's now saying purple, pink, purple.
Well, yeah, right. It's now the blue gold dress.
Look at all this. Astronomy. Oh man. I love the Space Engine allows you to do this. If you crank up the exposure settings, you see that what you're actually looking at here is a nebular complex that is the closest star-forming complex. And when you look at this is the only nebula that you can see with your naked eye is this Orion Nebula. You're seeing the dust and gas of starbirth. And if you look above that red next to where you were originally clicking, there's a big red thing. And if you were to go click and zoom in on that, you might see a familiar face. Especially if the exposure's cranked up. There it is. Can you see it?
Oh.
Yeah.
We talking about this guy here? Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the Horsehead Nebula.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's the Horsehead Nebula. So you may have seen pictures of this, Hubble images and stuff. But what you're seeing here is not an actual horse's head, obviously. But all of the dark banding here is dust. And dust generally accompanies star formation. It accompanies star death and birth. Dust is a process, like a part of when stars like die and release all of their gas and dust. It collects and forms new star clouds, or new clouds, nebulae like this. And nebulae just means fuzzy. Astronomers when they were looking through telescopes initially, they were like, well, if it's either a point source or it's a fuzzy thing, what's a fancier word for fuzzy thing? Let's call it nebula or nebulosity. But this is just a dust cloud that happens to look like a horse head because we're really good at anthropomorphizing things. Someone here says, Kickstand Carp says Tom Nook.
Yes, it's the Nook Nebula.
Look at that horse.
Yeah.
Long neck.
It may in fact be a star. Or a star part.
A nebula. Anyway, so we'll go fly through that in a bit. Let's zoom back and let's utilize the fact that you downloaded a bunch of DLCs. Let's go to the moon first, man.
Okay, let's do it.
So zoom back down out to there you go.
I'm just gonna.
But anyway, notice from here, like you can still see the nebula from with your naked eye. It's like insane how like it looks just like a star, but then actually it's a nebula, and the entire nebulosity expands almost the entire size of Orion. It's really huge.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, have you ever done any, I mean, I'm asking an astronomer this as if you need to do this because you have access to actual telescopes, but like, I know people are doing a lot of like long exposure photography from their backyards and able to get a lot of this on you ever experiment with anything like that, or you... Yeah,
the thing is that like I don't own a personal telescope because it's not hard for me to get access to larger ones.
Why bother?
A couple, like a year ago, I went up. There's a telescope on a mountain just north of where we are. This telescope that has like a 1 meter telescope with an eyepiece on it, and you could look at it through the eyepiece, like a 1 meter telescope, which is pretty gnarly. But then the guy had brought a Nikon mount, so I mounted my DSLR, and on my Instagram is a picture that's just like I didn't take like individual filters. I just took the DSLR and put it up to the butt of a 1 meter telescope, and you can see the nebulosity that you just saw there in like pretty cool detail.
I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted. I mean, it's a pricey prospect, but I'm really tempted to do that at some point because it seems so cool.
It's actually like if you have the camera already, like you don't need a particularly huge telescope. You just need to have patience and like access to the software, and like it's if you live in a place that can get dark skies, because that's the one problem is that if you're in the city, it's maybe not the greatest. But like if you live like here in Tucson, it's not hard for us to get out. Like my wife's mother lives outside of town, and like getting out there, it's like so dark. Anyway, let's go to the moon.
Okay. Should I just
anyway?
You want me to, anyway. Do you want me to zoom in or do you want me to travel?
Let's travel there.
Let's travel. Okay.
And let's travel at like the not. If you press G twice, it goes too quickly. If you just press G once,
we'll do the slow. We'll do the slow.
Yeah. So we're like what 300,000 miles away that we're flying to. You know, much faster than those damn Apollo astronauts.
I cannot believe I know you told me this before the stream, but I cannot believe that the James Webb is going to be beyond the orbit of the moon. That is mind blowing to me.
Which means if it breaks, we're fucked.
Yeah, right. What do you do? Can you send an unmanned mission to repair it, perhaps?
Right now, I don't trust the American government to get its act together to get the funding to do something like that. So no, if it breaks, there's not much we can do.
Wow.
So look.
Well, no pressure. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The moon. It's pretty cool. If we like get in there, I really like if you get in there and go to like to the Terminator, it gets like real pretty, like right where the cloud, the darkness and the light meet. This one's one that people are familiar with from the fact that you can see it a lot. I was watching a Star Trek episode recently where they were talking about, and this is a Star Trek episode where they should have thought that science was better, about how the Earth and the Sun and this culture were opposed to each other and you could never see one without the other. And I was like, you morons. Writers. I think it looks so pretty with the sun rising over the moon like this.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
This piece of software.
Yeah. Space Engine was built by one person for people watching at home, one mega nerd. If you land on the bright side and then turn off your HDR, you can see why the Apollo astronauts like couldn't see the stars in their images because the surface is so bright that you can't see the stars.
Land on the bright side and then turn off HDR.
And like the stars will go away. This is the thing that people are always like, well, why can you know, like why are there no stars in images?
Yeah.
So now we're on the moon. Take that, Kerbal Space Program. So
that was a lot easier than my Kerbal attempts.
We need Chris Remo to play his guitar as the landing is successful and not an incredible smear on the surface.
Wow. So I take it this is actual geometric data from the moon, right? Or is this?
I would hope so.
I would assume.
I don't know the resolution of our best. Like, I think the Japanese have like a satellite that did a pretty good job mapping, and I would just hope that, because most astronomy data becomes public, especially if it's taxpayer funded, like American astronomer data, so it wouldn't be hard to go find. I just don't know the resolution of those. But yeah, so you can see the stars there. But if you're like, were to turn off, can you search for the Earth, or like, and then like center on it and see if you can see the Earth?
Yep.
The other thing is, if you pressed Shift H a couple times, it will automatically. So now if you press C twice, yeah. Oh man, if we fly over, we can get a moonrise, man.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
That's sick. Let's zoom in. Let's get on the top of this hill. Sorry, everyone, that I'm yelling. I just think this program's really cool. Also,
it's really good.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. I'm just a little twitchy with the speeds here, but we'll get it. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Damn.
John Net Available says it reminds him of Ad Astra. Yes, but without all the weird daddy issues.
Yeah, and the weird car chase, rover car chase. Yes. Yeah.
All right, I think the moon's okay, but we should, I want to get out to some other cool stuff. So let's go to Mars, maybe. I like Mars.
Sure.
Let's go find Olympus Mons, which was like my favorite thing when I was like in 3rd grade.
There's Mars from here. Let's adjust. Whoa. Okay. Wow. Let's share back on. Mars from the moon, and we will travel there now. My favorite thing about Ad Astra, as we have 15 seconds here, they took Tommy Lee Jones's voice and stretched it out by 10,000x, and then put it in the background of a lot of scenes because they thought it was gonna make it more organic or something if the weird space sounds were Tommy Lee Jones's voice. Anyway, whatever. Continuing our much more informative demo.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I watched Ad Astra and mostly just rolled my eyes because I was not a huge fan of that. It was people ask me about Interstellar a lot, and I'm also think Interstellar is not as great as the rest of the world likes it, but that's because I'm a black hole person. And it also, it's a movie that at one point Anne Hathaway says the moral of the movie. She's like, what if love transcends dimensions? You're like, that's bad writing. Anyway, let's go find the Valles Marineris. So if you rotate around, I think we can see Olympus Mons off on the edge right now. But if we rotate around, we can find Valles Marineris, which is this canyon. And it'll help me give, oh wow, we're going to have, might be in the darkness.
Yeah, should I,
let's turn the time scale on. Let's point so that we can see the sun facing side, and then turn the time scale on so that we can watch the actual.
Okay.
Oh man. So here it's coming in right here. So you see it I guess it's like a big scar across the face.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, that scar is the Valles Marineris. To give you a scale of how big that is, if you put Los Angeles on one side, New York would be on the other side.
Oh wow.
It's a canyon where if we go and land in it right now, take this Grand Canyon. If you just go land in it, which means I would just zoom right towards it and then I guess crash into it and you'll land.
Yep.
I think if you were just standing in the base of the canyon, you couldn't see either side from where you were, because the hills inside of it are too big like this. Yes. It's the biggest canyon in the entire solar system, easily. And when we send Mars surveyors that go around, you could see on the edges of the canyon and in many canyons evidence for the ancient rivers that must have flown on Mars at some point. I think we're still waiting in the view for it to catch up with its
is it yeah, these HD planets take a second to kind of get going here.
Has anybody in the chat, have you ever read Red Mars or Green Mars or Blue Mars, the Kim Stanley Robinson Mars trilogy? They're some of my favorite books. they are just this like kind of geology textbook that has a slight story interweaved with them. I think that Kim Stanley Robinson is like really good at like describing Mars in a way that other authors aren't. But if we like kind of fly up from this, let's see if I can bring up my Mars map. If I can find where Olympus Mons is, can we see it from Valles Marineris? Because we should be able to. Yeah, if we look down one way from Valles Marineris, like if we kind of, increase our speed so that we can look out and see, the largest mountain in the whole solar system is Valles Marineris, which is one direction from here, or is Olympus Mons. And you can stick, like, Olympus Mons is the size of, like, Arizona. Like, you could put the entire state of Rhode Island in its crater.
Oh my god. Okay, let's see.
Turtle and Crack, I brought up my Mars map by Googling Mars map. It was not, I'm not some sort of fancy, Google is generally what we, but if you, I think you could probably also, if you fly up, it should be.
Let's see. Do you know if I can search for formations like that?
Olympus Mons, it's, I'm a little, I don't exactly know which, I should know where Valles Marineris, like which direction is at.
Turn the labels on, perhaps, and maybe that would give us a.
Maybe. Because you'll see Tharsis Montes and then the Olympus Mons. Like off, I think to the left is the. So I think you've got to go along the crater or along the valley. Yeah. I should know this. I have a printout of Valles Marineris on my wall in my living room that's like 8 feet long. I bought it at like this astronomer art show that they were going on, and like I really like it, and I should know it better.
Let's see here. Maybe it's on the dark side. Maybe that's why we're not.
No, it's right next to. You just gotta like if you zoom out, you can see it off to the. Yeah, off to the left.
Off to the left here from here.
So yeah, there it is.
Okay.
It looks like
okay.
Yeah. It looks like a pimple up.
It's a scale thing. So here, let's.
Yeah, there's actually you're seeing the Tharsis Montes, but off to the left on the edge right now where I'm looking at it is the actual Olympus Mons.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are other, dormant volcanoes.
Those are okay. So this that I've got focused on right now
probably
should
one
be.
Of the other ones. Yeah, it's okay. The lag is making it a little.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. So zoom out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more, because we may not need to land there. You can just look at it from space. But I want to get to cooler things. So I think that it's. The problem also is that I think that when your computer is chugging trying to render all of these things from really close up, so it's the pimple up at the top right of it. It's like right on the edge of the actual limb. It's really big. Like if you look at the keep going up farther up to the actual horizon, and like you can see a tiny.
Oh God. Okay, there it is.
Yeah, it's enormous, right? Like an Arizona style size. Yeah, there it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
If you were to, when I teach classes on the solar system, I ask my students to calculate, okay, if you have a thing the size of Arizona and it's as tall as Olympus Mons is, if you were to hike it, would it be possible? And people would be like, oh my gosh, no, it'd be too tall. It'd be like a crazy hike for hours. And no, it's like you could wheelchair up Olympus Mons. It's very gradual.
I was expecting, like a higher rate of ascent, I guess. But it is a bit of a. Like
this part at the beginning,
right here, it looks like you could just drive your car up that. Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. Like, it's really big. The tallest volcano and mountain in the solar system. All right. Anyway, okay. Maybe we should just look at I don't know, your classic Saturn, Jupiter, while you have the high res DLC, and then we'll move over to some other stuff, and we'll go a little bit farther afield because the planets are neat, but and you may as well It would be a long ass hike, seriously.
Yeah. Okay. Heading to Jupiter. Let me know how choppy the frame rate is. I think part of it is just that wow, look at the stars for the moon together.
Yep. It's really cool. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Jupiter. This is where boys are from. Kevin
Were
asked
there
how
some-
many events are in the game. It's you have to unlock it. It takes a while, a lot of leveling. You only start out with a dagger.
Right. Jupiter was my favorite planet as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it just looks like an abstract painting. It's so compelling, just as a child, you know.
The math for why it looks like that, right, is the same math that underlies like why when you put like coffee creamer in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like the math for that, let me tell you, in grad school is a lot harder than not having to do that math, than just appreciating it. I think it's the Kelvin Helmholtz instability. Is that what I want? Is the velocity sphere in a single continuous fluid where there's a velocity difference across the interface? Yes. The Kelvin Helmholtz instability. It's really complicated math, and it like the idea of like you've got these two different velocity cloud structures that are shearing and making this beautiful like marbleized structure.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can see all of the cells, right? Like I don't think the gray red spot is on this side, but all of those cells are just like hurricane tornado style things.
Yep. Here's the spot, right? Let's see if
there it is.
See if I can get this guy. Let's rotate him around.
As a size scale for those watching at home, 3 Earths could fit inside of that spot.
There we are. God, that's insane.
Oh, look at the shadow of that moon.
I know. I was watching that. That's outrageous.
Mm-hmm. So that's been probably on millions of year timescales. You should like go and look at the like where the shadow is and look back out and get like an eclipse of the sun from the. Not to make your computer chug, but like I bet if you like
no, I think it's probably gonna be okay. Yeah.
And look at the moon.
Let's see.
So if you look at the sun right now.
Yeah, where is this?
So Shift H twice.
Oh, there we go. Oh, Shift H twice, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I turned off my my happy.
And now if you like zoom in with your telescope, once you center it, you could probably see the. Whoa.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so sick. Look at all you can see the sun is like you can see the corona of the sun because you have this. I think that must be Europa, right? That moon.
Yes.
Europa, we know has a subsurface ocean because it's heated by the gravity of Jupiter grinding up its like pulling and tugging on the core to give it under like subsurface heat, which causes the there to be like liquid salty water, and so there might be life like swimming around in undersea oceans on Europa.
Wasn't that being considered for a mission?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that still the case?
And there was a movie, Europa Report.
Yes, right. Have you seen that film, Kevin?
I have not. No.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a horror movie. Has anyone in the chat watched Europa Report? Or is there any positives?
I doubt it very much. Yeah. So is that the mission still being considered, or is that a thing that's happening?
I don't actually know. The problem is that we're currently in the midst of our there's going to be a Europa Clipper mission that will be launching in 2024 that will like study it and go around it. So that is definitely still on the page. Mm-hmm. But in terms of other future missions, astronomy every decade has to go through a decadal review where we go and like all these astronomers write little papers that like say, here's what we need for the next decade, what we think. And then they write a big report that they give to NASA saying, here's what you should fund. And like right now, oh my God, I'm now watching as the sun rises behind you.
What I love the most is when you push all the way in like this, right? And it just it switches to that high res.
The HDR mode. We can see the sunspots and the granules.
The sunspots and everything. Here, let's just break the stream completely. I have to do it. Let's just go fully in on the sun. It's gonna break the stream for like 5 seconds, but whatever.
It's not a stream anymore. Now it's like a postcard.
Yeah, this is a slideshow. This is we're in PowerPoint. Anyway.
Yeah, speaking of sunshine, this is like that shot in Sunshine where Mercury is transiting the sun. It's like Sunshine's like a goofy movie, but it has some real pretty shots.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. All right, I'm getting some positive reviews of Europa Report. Okay,
really? Okay.
So let's look at Saturn. I want to look at Saturn just because I want to like look at the rings edge on because it's like neat to see the rings.
All right.
And then at that point we could look at Pluto if you wanted to. It's on my list, but also I don't know how long you want to fart around with this, but I've got like there's some pretty cool things. Like we got to look at our.
Oh, I've got time.
Galaxy. Okay.
I've got time.
So there's a couple things. First, Saturn's rings are incredibly thin, left over from probably moons crashing into each other early on in their history. They're composed of rocks that are about the size of like centimeters or a little tiny, or maybe the size of your fist. The biggest ones may be the size of like a car. There's like a bunch of ring systems here. I think that it's just a texture. It's not.
It's just. Oh, I thought it loaded in a high def thing. Okay, I guess not.
Maybe they do. I don't actually know.
Oh, what's this guy here? Dwarf Moon. Oh, that's the moon. Oh, okay. Or that's a moon rather.
Yeah. There's a lot. Saturn and Jupiter have 60 moons apiece. When you're that big gravitationally, you yank a bunch of rocks, especially little ones, out of the asteroid belt, and they just kind of follow along. If you clicked on that dwarf moon and then just put C, you could center on it and then, or right-click it. Now you can right-click around it.
Oops. Oh, God. I just, I had it and then, oh, here we go. And it's so small that you actually have to really be careful about the here. It's actually not,
it's just spherical.
It's not locking on the
actual dwarf moon?
Yeah, the rotation is actually kind of a little funky with it.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never encountered
strange.
that. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, Saturn, if you look at one of the poles, you can see this like weird hexagonal pattern, this like cloud pattern on one of Saturn's poles that like is just what happens when you have this gas that is rotating in a specific way. Like we've actually in labs set up like a rotating thing similar to this to try and hopefully get a hexagonal pattern. And it's pretty cool that they simulated it in this game. Also, anytime you see the shadow of rings on a planet, it's fucking so cool. I'm sorry, I shouldn't curse, but like.
No. You please. This is. Here we got the hexagonal pole here.
Yeah. Oh, they're so neat. Look at that. Like that's not fake. They've like that's actually on Saturn. Is that there's a like you just set up this crazy pattern with this hexagon.
Wow. So interesting.
I know, right? Okay, so I want to look at something that came through our solar system a couple years ago. So I don't know if you were aware when this happened, but if you pull up your search and like I think it should be the top search thing is Oumuamua, which has a hyphen in front of it. But Oumuamua, like in 2017, we just like had this like, right there. We had this object just kind of fly through our solar system that was like a rogue object. If you've ever read Rendezvous with Rama, it is very similar to how this like object came in that had a weird light curve, meaning we watched it over time and saw that it would like stay bright for a while and then get very, very dim and then stay bright for a while and get very, very dim.
Yep.
And like that indicates that it's probably, as they've said, they show here, like a big weird cigar-shaped, poop-shaped like.
Oh, here it is. Oh God, it's just so dark I can't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just sort of a.
Yeah, change your exposure settings or look at it from a different angle or whatever.
We'll just pan around a little bit here. Oh,
yeah.
Oh God, I lost it again. Wow, it's kind of behaving somewhat erratically, but I'll try.
Do you have time on still or no? No, you don't have time on at all. Weird. Why is?
Yeah, it's like the rotation of these small objects is kind of buggy for whatever reason.
You know what? You must be still zoomed in, maybe.
Oh God, it keeps. It's funny. I can hit reset, and then it resets, and then it jumps back again weirdly.
Weird.
I don't know what's going on here. Yeah.
Yeah. So this alien space tube, as Aquaqueer said, is like this thing that like flew through our solar system over the course of a couple months. We watched it go, and then we realized we'll never see it again because it's now too far away and too dim to understand. So for like a little bit, there was just a bunch of scientists trying to study it and understand it as well as they could. And then suddenly it just decided like, if you have to, you might want to restart the program. Maybe you've, like I find sometimes that it has like some weird memory leaks.
I don't know. It's weird. It's like the zoom. Just like rotating around, I seem to be losing.
Yeah,
losing the smaller objects.
I don't understand why that is working like that. My recommendation would be to restart the program, but like if it's not a huge deal, I just like this was like one of our classic weird. So he's gonna just go to a star.
Yeah, that seems to work fine, but this. It's like I lose it at certain angles. I'm not quite sure why. Yeah. All right, I'll restart the program. We'll just you can talk about
it was just a thing where we heard a talk by an astronomer last year where they were just like, here's everything we know and everything we may ever know about this object. You'll never get an astronomy talk where we just like lay out the full body of information because we now cannot see it or observe it anymore. So, here's it. Here's from discovery to us trying to understand it, and every observatory that would give time looking at it to that's it. There was an idea for maybe flying out to go observe it, but it's expensive.
They're not going to get that together by the time
Yeah. It's just it's ridiculous that like these sorts of things just kind of like buzz us, like they come through, hi, and then leave.
It's
if
funny.
We can't, it's okay. We won't look at anything this small again. I think.
Yeah, it seems like it's just having a hard time tracking the rotation of it. Funny. I'm not quite sure how to solve it, but
all right. Well, then let's actually then let's talk about things in our galaxy. So we've been just looking at our solar system, which is like essentially like looking around your room when there's a whole house and a whole world out there. Like we've got the solar system is so tiny compared with things. So let's actually let's actually go back to the Orion Nebula and maybe we'll fly through it just because it's kind of neat to be able to fly through it.
Okay.
Although if Oumuamua, like if you can do it,
Yeah, I'll give it one more shot, Kevin.
Okay.
We'll go back in from this angle. We'll see if we can do it. I don't know. It's just a little. It's so funny. It's like that. I hit go to and now it's just not there.
Is the internalization meter not working?
That's entirely possible. It should be working. It should be 0 right now. It 0 is correct. No, it's weird. I think there's just kind of like a weird bug with.
Yeah, weird. Right. That's disappointing. But you should, it looks like a big space poop. Google it if you. Oh man, no.
Object. I can land on object.
Sure, we can land on Oumuamua. Why not? We'll be the first humans to.
Yeah. No, I think it's just having a hard time tracking it for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on, I suppose.
Hey, thanks Rubik's Cube for subscribing.
Oh, thank you, Rubik's Cube. Oh, thanks.
So,
really appreciate that.
So let's look at the Orion Nebula and let's actually fly through it.
Oh, okay.
Well, poop in space is just what? I don't know. What is mostly poop made at? We shouldn't talk about this. I'm sorry. People in the chat are getting me to talk about gross stuff.
You know what? This is like starting to. Oh wait, there we go. Okay.
Yep.
There we go. Okay.
So, first off, from the Orion Nebula, which should be now around you, ideally. Where?
You know what's funny is I've lost my free cam controls now. This is getting kind of. This is getting weird. Yeah, I can't do anything. Oh wait, I can't rotate.
Your computer
and I can't.
Well, now you can fly. It looks like.
I think I'm just in a different mode. I think I'm not.
It's not like. Let me open up my version and see what, because maybe you've clicked on something that is.
Yeah, it's like there's so many settings that I think you can.
Yeah.
Like C is no longer functioning, which is a problem. Maybe I need to restart again. I don't know what I did. Maybe is spacecraft mode what you actually want? No.
No. Spacecraft mode is not what you want. I just have free mode on. And then if I hold the left mouse around, I can float around. You may want to go into your settings and change or reset your. I wonder, can you reset things? Controls. Click default and go back to default.
Yeah, let's
controls.
just do default. Yeah. Okay. I am sure. I'm very sure. Okay.
And close it in the top right corner.
Yeah, I can't. I can no longer rotate.
We don't trust you to have space. It's because you're still. Is it because you're still tracking Oumuamua? If you
Oh, I wonder.
Turn off on the bottom right. There's like the bottom left. There's a tracking thing. It says track object. Like on the right.
Oh, yep. That's totally what it was. Okay.
Okay, now you're not tracking Oumuamua.
Okay, let's go back to the right. All right. Sorry about that, everybody.
So now let's zoom back.
Do not put me in charge of your spacecraft. Okay. I can't fly. Oh wow. Okay, there we go.
All right. So
now
we're in the Orion Nebula.
we have a nice view
fly
of
around
the
the Orion
Nebula.
But also, at some point, you should turn around from the Orion Nebula and look for the sun by like just Shift H once or Shift H twice, and then like center on the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of charming that like from the Orion Nebula, like from the Earth, we can see the Orion Nebula really well. From the Orion Nebula, the sun is garbage, nothing. Like if you like look for it, you have to like start zooming in telescope wise for quite a while until you actually see the sun. We have such
There's the sun. Somewhere way back in here. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like the more you zoom in eventually, like look at all the zooming you're doing just to get towards
the sun. Yeah, here
I'll
just push way in.
Yeah.
And good God.
Yeah, right?
Wow. Okay, wow.
There's the sun.
Yeah. That's the max zoom too. Okay.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Like the thing is that we ascribe our sun this significance, and it is significant for us, but like it is just one of 100 billion stars in our galaxy. Mm-hmm. And here's the nebula, big gas cloud. I don't think it's, as simulated with what it, like we have no idea about the full three-dimensional structure of it, so a lot of it's just made up. That like group of stars that's very bright that you see that you're just flying by in my lab,
yes.
That's called the trapezium cluster. That's a cluster of baby stars. They're very bright and blue. Blue stars die much quicker than like red stars or cooler stars because they go through their material faster. So if you see blue stars, you're seeing young stars. It's why there are no old James Deans, because they die quickly. That's a reference for you kids out there. Know who James Dean is.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah. So you can see these. This
Wow.
is what's causing most of the light you see with your naked eye
Mm-hmm.
on the. So like the reason that it's all lit up with this pink and stuff is because these stars are so bright, they're producing what we call ionizing radiation. And that radiation is actually hitting the gas and causing the gas to fluoresce in the same way that a neon light would. So neon is just, you're smacking neon gas with like electricity, which causes electrons to bounce up an energy level, then fall down a specific energy level and release light at a very specific wavelength. And so you're seeing fluorescing hydrogen gas, which is generally what this red is. Later, we'll show you MED2, and that like MED2. If you need like MED2 is has like a bunch of hydrogen gas outflows, and this is just like nebulosity are glowing in the same way that fluorescent neon gas lights are. So the actual color of the Orion Nebula is, if you were to look at it with your naked eye, like here, go change the exposure settings so that
Mm-hmm.
it's like, because like this is where you ramped up the exposure settings so that you can actually like see it. But like if you go to the other direction, you'll see what it should look like to our eyes, which is generally like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, the first time this was seen was through the naked eye was by like Herschel. Like who look up who saw the Orion Nebula for the first time? I'm gonna go to my space book. Messier. It was Charles Messier, and he has got like pictures of it. Other people probably saw it before, but like Messier has like this drawing of like you can see it kind of faintly, and like through a telescope you can kind of see it, but you don't see the colors as bright.
That's the. Yeah,
if you were inside the nebula, no, because again, if you were inside the nebula, the brightest thing would be the stars.
Sorry,
oh.
I couldn't.
Okay. Well,
Siri doesn't understand.
Exactly.
Siri needs more explanation, Kevin, please.
Our eyes are not like, they're not sensitive enough to pick up on a lot of the bright nebulosity around there, which is a bummer. Maybe a little bit of a faint haze. I can show you something that's like pretty wicked in a bit, that like you would be really bright from us. But from here, go to the Pillars of Creation, which is one of the things you can search,
Oh, yeah.
which is the other famous Hubble thing.
That's just searchable?
Yeah.
Okay. That would be
There we are.
in this direction.
Pillars of Creation is in the Eagle Nebula. So if we fly over to the Eagle Nebula, and notice that like you can see the band of the Milky Way still stretching across. All of the dark patches you see is the dust in our galaxy that's in various dust lanes. Galaxy's a spiral galaxy. We'll zoom out in a little bit, but this is the Eagle Nebula, and like you can see here, there they are. So let's change the exposure again so that we can like really see them. But this is like the subject of one of the most famous pictures that Hubble ever took.
Yep.
This is the Pillars of Creation, and what you're seeing here are very dense gas clouds with some dust, and nestled inside of those dusty clouds is baby stars being formed. Other stars that are essentially to the above what you're seeing here, those stars are actually blowing away a lot of this dust and gas. Like when dust and gas forms new stars, those stars, when they start lighting up, will actually blow out all of the gas and stop star formation. So the star formation in a gas cloud is only stopped after the stars are born and blow away all of the stuff that could make future stars. What's cool about James Webb is that, like, and I can see that your rendering engine is having a problem with this, is that, like, with optical telescopes, the dust blocks our way to seeing those baby galaxies.
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
Yeah, infrared light allows us to see through the dust. Infrared light can pass through dust. It doesn't get impacted in the same way as optical light does through dust. And so you can actually see through. It's why, like, you might wear infrared goggles to look at, say, a Tyrannosaurus in the rain, where it'd be harder to see in the rain, but with the infrared goggles, they're expensive, kids, so because they're heavy.
Right.
I told Nick that I would not do a bunch of Jurassic Park references.
No. I'm glad. Well, you know what? Time to that was what? It was an hour. So I mean, you held off. You really did. You did well, Kevin.
Yeah. And so these nebulae are purple, Breos, because generally they're being rendered that way. A lot of this light in the red that you're seeing is hydrogen gas, excited hydrogen, but you're also seeing some green and the greens from oxygen, and blue should be something probably more, like not as strong lines, but there's some oxygen lines in the blue as well. But you're seeing essentially mostly the reddish is from hydrogen gas. Oh, it looks so nice. God, that looks so pretty. Okay, so let's go back to the Earth because I want to look at the center of our galaxy from the Earth first before we go there, because this is something that, like, if you've waited out an hour, you're hoping for something like way cool, and we're gonna look at a black hole next. So let's go to the Earth first. There's a bunch of other nebulae we can look at, but, like, you know, we'll save that for now. Oh. Notice how many stars we're getting to get there. So now if you like, you don't have to land on the Earth, you can just sit here, but, like, I want you to search for Sagittarius A. This will test your ability to spell Sagittarius on the fly.
I don't listen. Autocomplete is a fantastic invention. Okay.
So just don't go to, just search for it and center it.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And then enter. Oh, so it's on the other side.
Yeah.
Up here around the Earth, and okay.
So now if we center
wait a minute. Oh, I'm still on the Earth. Wait a minute.
Oh, so you were centering on.
I was still centered on the Earth for whatever reason.
Right, yeah. So now you actually have to go around. Yeah, I was expecting it to be. So notice. So Sagittarius A star is now we've landed on the Earth. So Sagittarius A star is the radio source at the center of our galaxy, and we know right now that we're looking towards something that's in our galaxy because we're actually right now looking at cluster Ruprecht 145. So you should once again attempt to search for the center of our galaxy. A star meant it was the brightest radio source in Sagittarius, which is why it was named that. I don't think there's a Sagittarius B. So what we're looking at right here is towards the center of our galaxy, and we know because the galaxy extends upward. I don't know if I'm going the other direction. So if I go this way, it extends this direction for those watching at home, and it's like a big flat disk we'll show in a second when we fly out of the galaxy. But in the center of the galaxy, there's a huge amount of dust between us and the center, and you're seeing all that dust here. So now if we start zooming in, astronomers in the 90s, a woman astronomer named Andrea Ghez, who's at UCLA, I know her pretty well, when I was in grad school, she used a set of telescopes, large telescopes, in the infrared to peer through this dust. This is multiple magnitudes of extinction. It's incredibly faint. And zoomed in as far as she could, so keep going, through this dust. If you tried to look at this in the optical, all you'd see is dust. It just block your way. And as you get there, you start to notice, first off, that they've simulated some fake nebulae and stuff around, but you start to get to a cluster of stars in the very center. And so as you get closer and closer and closer, eventually I'm going to want you to turn on the orbits, which is along your right side panel. It should be under the constellation panel. And this is what she did.
Oh, wow.
So zoom in so you can really see those.
Yeah.
What she did was she went every year. The Sagittarius A star is visible in the summer, and she tracked the orbits. All these orbits should be correct from her orbits that she tracked by looking at individual stars over time. And what she was looking at was how all of these stars, many of them were very young, were orbiting around something, and if you do the math, that thing has to have 3 million times the mass of our sun. Siri, I really need you to quiet down. And so she started doing this and thinking like, wow, there's something there that is not a star. If you zoomed into the center, you'd see it because they've simulated it, but it wasn't. She couldn't see it. It was something that was causing all these stars to orbit around on timescales indicating there was something 3 million times the mass of our sun. And she realized this is most likely the radio source in the center of our galaxy is a supermassive black hole. And so Andrea Ghez discovered the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. She is an incredible genius.
Wow.
And her students are she's still tracking these. Every one of these orbits is a realistic orbit for what it looks like. She's puzzled by the fact that there's so many incredibly young stars here, which would mean that these stars would have to be formed here. And how can you form stars so near a black hole? It's like if there was like, you've discovered like a crib full of babies in the middle of a freeway, you'd be like, that's weird. How did they get there? So fly
are there theories on that? Do they have any idea how that's?
Most likely there's a large disk of of star formation that was disrupted, and the stars were kind of kicked in here, and many of them were also kicked out. And so if you were to like look at some of these stars, it's hard to see in this, but there's statistical evidence that many of them are on a similar plane as they orbit around.
Is that? Sorry, Kevin. I'm gonna interject here. Is that an accretion disk? Is that what an accretion disk is, or am I wrong on that?
I'll show you what an accretion disk is when you go and actually zoom back out and then go to the black hole at the center of our galaxy. Okay. But what you're talking about is just a stellar disk, a disk of stars that are likely. But you're very close.
Okay. All right, so we're just gonna zoom there now. We're gonna go.
Let's go to the black hole at the center of our galaxy, man.
All right.
It's gonna be a bit because it's 8,000 parsecs.
Jesus.
But notice like all of the stars that are passing by.
No, it's like warp 10. Yeah.
You're driving through like a snowstorm, or Florida in the summer. And remember, every one of these stars only has planets. Also, notice how many stars. And there we go. So ladies and gentlemen, Sagittarius A star.
Jesus.
So what you're going to want to do, because this is like the coolest thing, is you're going to want to actually go and get close, because you're seeing now the actual accretion disk.
Oh, right, of course. That's the black hole. Yeah.
So this is an accretion disk around a black hole. So black holes, when they swallow material, the material can't just fall onto the black hole. It actually falls onto the black hole in a disk around it, similar to the fact that, because of the fact that it has to give up angular momentum. Angular momentum, like when an ice skater spins around and pulls their arm in and spins faster, all that angular momentum has to be given up, and the material has to give up a lot of energy. So it hits this accretion disk, makes the accretion disk goes into and rubs against itself, getting very hot. So you're actually seeing light from the accretion disk. The big jet you're seeing in either side is probably not actually this bright in our galaxy, but it's a jet that in many of these objects is a radio jet or a jet of material where near the black hole, the gravitational forces are pulling particles off of the accretion disk, spinning on magnetic field lines and causing it to glow. So now what you want to do, Nick, is go to the black hole. Just zoom right in on that.
Okay.
Because this is the coolest thing about Space Engine, is that Space Engine simulates.
And we teleport to the other dimension.
Well, if you gotta be slow, make sure you go slow so you see it. But turn your settings on a little bit, so that you can actually, because in Interstellar they simulate this as well, but they don't do what you're doing, or they do what you're doing. Yeah. In actuality, it would be incredibly bright, but make it dim.
Yeah. I was gonna say I didn't know what you meant by I feel
make it so you can see the black hole.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Wow. Okay.
And now as you rotate, you can notice that it looks like it's wearing a little hat.
Oh man, it's doing the
that's
distortion.
Gravitational bending of light around it. You're actually seeing the light. Notice the stars that go up and over. Those are just stars that are gravitationally bent. They would be something you couldn't see because the black hole be in the way, but they're in fact bent up and around the black hole. The thing is that in our galaxy, this disk is not very bright. Because our black hole's not swallowing material. They've simulated it here in a way that makes it look cooler. But you can if you wanted to, you could go right in the black hole,
just go right on in there.
Just get real slow, go slow. Don't zoom in.
Sorry.
Fly in.
Yeah, we're gonna fly in. I'll slow it down a bit here.
Because it's a little touch and go. But when you zoom in, it really increases the gravitational warp factor, and the universe looks real crazy.
Yep. Okay, we're going right in.
Yeah, it's crazy, Scarlett, that one human being made this. It's really ridiculous. In in actual black holes, in supermassive black holes and other galaxies, this disk is gosh, how big are the accretion disks? It's on the order of like you could fit it in our solar system. So now you're really getting close.
Yeah, this is pretty extreme. Here, let's. Okay.
And if you turn when you get in it and look at the rest of the galaxy around, it's like really.
You want me to just go straight in? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe sorry, not fit in our solar system. Excuse me. It's some number of thousands of AU, meaning the Earth-Sun distance is in AU, so some number of thousands. Excuse me. And the accretion disks in supermassive black holes that are swallowing material are in some cases. Are you now in the black hole?
I'm fully in the black hole, Kevin.
I'm sorry, Nick. We
I
lost
think actually I don't know that I can escape it. It's so funny. I keep hitting the velocity. Oh wait, there we go. Okay. And it keeps resetting the velocity.
I think you've landed on the black hole.
Yes, I think I'm fully inside of it, and I think it does not want me to. Hold on. Let's find Earth from here, and we'll try and pull out of this. Okay.
In quasars, which are where there's a black hole that's swallowing material at a rate that is like faster than any other object, that accretion disk can be brighter than the rest of the galaxy combined. Meaning, if you were looking at the object from space from far away, like we are, you would see you'd see only the black hole's accretion disk as like a point source in the very center. You wouldn't see the galaxy around it. It'd be really, really incredibly, incredibly bright.
We're just resetting here, Kevin, because I went into the black hole and died. I think that was the end of the game that I found, and now we're back here. Okay, so yeah, that was weird. I got to the middle of it, and it just would not let me do anything.
I just think that the simulation is like pretty wicked. I really don't like but yeah, the accretion disk gives off most of its light in the ultraviolet, which is I guess why they're showing it as blue. So like it's much, much, much brighter than hotter than a star. This process of turning gravitational energy directly into light energy is the most energetically efficient process in the universe. Like stars is like, whoa, there we go.
Holy God. Okay. So the black hole core is to the left, and this is the view out.
Should have sent a poet, man.
Yeah, holy Jesus. Okay, so, oh yeah. Oh, okay, I get the effect. Oh, man.
We need that organ music from Interstellar.
That is crazy.
This is nuts, man. Oh, sorry, everyone who was hoping that you'd see more Animal Crossing or Dark Souls or whatever.
Okay, I'm just backing into it now, and this is what I'm getting. That's full. Let's yeah, there we go. And then we'll just kind of slowly back in. Wow.
Yeah, so
where are we now, Kevin?
If you were falling into a real black hole, you'd be dead. But through the magic of computers.
Yeah. This is where we are. So
here's something to blow minds. So in space, we can move in 3 dimensions, but we can only move in 1 dimension in time, forward. Inside of a black hole, it's likely that because gravity is so high, we're in infinite gravity, that actually time doesn't work in the same way. We don't move linearly in time, and you're only able to move 1 dimension in a black hole, which is towards the singularity. So now time and space are inverted in that time is in any way you want, and space can go forward, which is, why I guess Matthew McConaughey was able to talk with his daughter through a fake library. Right.
I'm just fully zoomed from as far back as you can go, basically.
That's all of the light of the universe right there, falling into the black hole.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a star, but it's the opposite.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Whoa. Okay. Interesting.
I think you may have reached the edge of
what you can simulate. Yes, the edge of the universe is the AT&T logo.
Yeah.
Okay. That is insane. Now I need to escape again.
Yeah, so let's look up Large
Oh my God.
Magellanic Cloud. Actually, let's look at Milky Way Galaxy, and we'll zoom to the Milky Way Galaxy. So let's get out of the center of the
Let's
Milky
get out
Way.
of this. Let's get out of here. Here, I'm gonna pull back to my normal zoom here, and we'll just. There we go.
The universe is flat, Aquaqueer, so it probably doesn't wrap around itself. We have a lot of evidence showing that it's flat, meaning it's not some hyperdimensional paraboloid or bagel or something. It's most likely just, flat in all dimensions, or flat, in the physical dimensions that we know of. We know this from quite a few different lines of evidence for the cosmic microwave background, for baryon acoustic oscillations. A lot of these things that are lines of evidence based on cosmological observations of the full universe shows that our model for the universe, which is this called the lambda cold dark matter model, requires a flat universe. This is I'm glad we got here, because this is when I first played with this, I just couldn't stop playing.
That's the center there. We just
flat, like a disk or a sphere. It's flat insofar as if you were to draw a triangle in our universe, the corners of the triangle would add up to 180 degrees. So it's flat. If you were do I have a sheet of paper? If you were a bug that lived in on this, you wouldn't know if I did this, but this would not be flat, right? Like if it was some sort of manifold like this, and so if you were to draw a triangle on this as a bug living on a two-dimensional surface and measure its angles, you'd get 180 degrees. But if it were actually warped and curved in some way, like those angles would be smaller in some way, or larger, and that's what we mean.
Sorry, Kevin, I don't know what I'm doing over here. It's fine. Okay, I think we're now 700 million.
Yeah, well.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah, you should go and zoom out to the Milky Way entirely.
Okay.
Because I just have we're now getting to things that are what I do a research on, and it's more exciting. So now, if you just I guess go, yeah. Whoa. Oh, we're zooming out from that.
No, well, we also I gotta reset the exposure there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's our galaxy, 100 billion stars, big spiral structure. It's what we call a barred spiral because it has a structure in the center, that kind of yellowish structure, which is older stars near the center in the bulge. But it has a bar across it that it's a very faint bar. It's hard to see. But you should maybe up the exposure a little bit more. Let's Yeah, there we go. We're in one of the arms near the edge. If you were to go and shift H twice and then center on the sun.
Or the sun, Earth is just as good.
Yeah. You can see, especially if you telescope in a little bit, where the Earth is in comparison to the edge, right? You just saw this because we flew there, but we're 8,000 parsecs from the center, right? We're in this, what's called we're in the uncharted backwaters of the Sagittarius arm. I think it's Orion. And our neighborhood that we know about, all the stars we know about, is even resolved at this scale.
Wow.
So the Milky Way, if you were to go and look at it from the edge, is essentially the thickness to size of a CD. So it's very thin. The center is a little bit puffier, and right here you can see that it looks a little bit more puffy because you're seeing what's called the thick disk versus the thin disk. But you can see that edge on, there's a bunch of dust, and that dust can potentially block your view of the center. As you were to go scan around it, you'd see that the dust orients itself in different ways. I study black holes at the center of distant galaxies, and I get annoyed sometimes because in some galaxies, dust within the galaxy can actually block my view of the center of the galaxy, which makes it harder to see the supermassive black hole emitting its light. Whereas in some cases, you don't have that dust blocking it, But you can see from the very edge that the center has a little bit of a bulge out, and that a laser disk, Skeech. And the bulge is a population of older stars, which is why it's a little bit yellowish. It's probably what formed earlier on in the history of our galaxy. Our galaxy is currently in the process of cannibalizing a bunch of dwarf galaxies. I think if you were to zoom around, you might be able to see two of the more prominent dwarf galaxies, which are the Large and Small Magellanic Clouds. You can also search for LMC or SMC. I don't know if it comes up with that, but if you zoom out a little bit, you'll see them as well. You fly backwards I've got LMC here. I can just center it there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay.
So the Large Magellanic Cloud you can see, is anyone here in the chat from the Southern Hemisphere? Because this is something you can see in the Southern Hemisphere, and it's buddy to SMC, which is behind my face on the screen. But the SMC is the Small Magellanic Cloud. Those are two dwarf galaxies that have actually wrapped around our galaxy maybe once. There's people here at the University of Arizona who are experts in looking at the kinematics of the motions of these things as they've wrapped around us. But like, if you were, this program doesn't simulate it, but if you were to actually go and look, like if you had the ability to, you could see streams of stars that have been ripped from these dwarf galaxies. They are not flat things like this. What they've actually done in this program is taken a texture and put them there, which is a little bit of a bummer, but they're probably more like an irregular ball of like what you'd expect if you took a beautiful spiral galaxy or a beautiful, and like kind of threw it at something else and like wrapped it around. They got all pulled apart and stuff. But that's the Large and the Small Magellanic Clouds. They were, named by the sailors who first saw these, or who not first saw these. There was a huge number of indigenous people in the Southern Hemisphere who saw these a lot and cared about them before a bunch of sailors just named them. But from the Southern Hemisphere, you can see them pretty well, like at night on a clear night, and they look like a cloud, like they, This is a little bit better, but it's like pretty cool.
I mean, what's great about this program?
The next one you want to look at is our nearest large galaxy friend, which is Andromeda.
Is that this is Andromeda here? Or... Oh, that's a Small Magellanic.
Yeah, that's SMC.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are dwarf galaxies. They may have millions of stars, maybe at the most. I think LMC has like 1 billion stars. Yeah, so there's Andromeda. And if we go there, Andromeda, we can go there in a second, but Andromeda is essentially a larger in scale, but about the same mass, analog to the Milky Way.
Amazing that this thing really does give you a sense of how relatively close these are to our galaxy, right? Like they're massive. So it's like you look at them and like they really are like our neighbors. It's crazy.
So LD Feeder is asking, why does the dust and everything, why do the stars arrange in a disk instead of a spherical shell, I think, with this galaxy? And the reason it's a disk is because gravity pulls things that, like, if you start with a spherical ball and you start it rotating because of angular momentum, it'll flatten like a pizza dough does. And then on top of that, gravity is pulling it. Once you start flattening, gravity is now pulling things this direction and towards the center, but the motion of it around this way keeps it flat. So disks outside of large, like especially if there's rotation, which is what happens as the gas and stars collapse to form these things, you get that rotation which smears it out to form a disk. It's just mostly angular momentum. So that's M110. So what's really cute is, I don't know if anyone remembers one of the releases from Apple, one of their OS releases had Andromeda as one of the default backgrounds, but I think that they took and photoshopped out M100 here from it because they didn't like it in the way.
Just a little, it looks like a sort of photography artifact or something, like a little smudge, right? Like somebody smudged the camera. Yeah, sure. Andromeda's,
where you were looking at it right there, we call that an edge-on spiral, as opposed to a face-on spiral. Andromeda, here's something kind of cute that you might want to do. Let's pull up which button is it? I think it's the thing that is above the magnifying lens on the left side.
Oh, on the left side. Oh, I see. Star browser?
Yeah. So now I want you to click filter settings.
Okay.
Yeah. And now I think that you should change object parameters to like on the left one, there's like 3 like drop down menus and they say any.
Mm-hmm.
Change that to temperate.
Okay.
And then the middle one to, I think, let's see, what did it to marine. And the last one should be, let's do Terra.
Okay.
All right. And click OK. And now kind of get in. Now let's, like don't do anything yet, but like you want to get into the galaxy so that, because what we're going to do right now is we're going to like search for an Earth-like planet. So get in on there and then change the search radius to 100 light years or something like that, and see if you can search and find. So like get right in the galaxy.
Yep. Okay.
I'm going to find an Earth analog. Yeah, perfect. Now we're in some stars.
Okay.
Every one of the stars you see right now is a star in Andromeda, not in our own galaxy.
Right.
Like all of the dots you see, there's not a lot of stars in our. So now if you click search, hopefully it pulls up simulated, because what it's now doing, we're entirely in procedural generation land. There we go. As we find one of these things. So if we can click on one of them, the top one with the G-type star. So where it says class, click on that G1.
Oh, it's pulling in like a million of them. So
yeah, exactly. So just click one of them.
Just click one of them. Okay, go to.
The top one, and then click go to. So that G-type star is like our sun.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking for planets to live on right now. Here we go. There's a G-type star. All right, so now if we go over on the left and click the button that looks like 2 stars on a pedestal.
Yep.
It'll show us the solar system. And now if we go over and look at the planets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can click on them one at a time and find the one that's the aquatic temperate Terra. Look at these planets we just found. Take that, No Man's Sky.
Didn't even have to farm any materials.
Yeah,
Didn't
there
have
it is,
to,
right there. That is our planet. Temperate marine Terra with life. So let's go there. We got to unclick from the pedestal and we can go there. And we've now found our own new planet to land on with life, and it's got a disk. I couldn't have planned it better. We're going to take a little while to get there.
Yeah, well, it feels like we're not even moving because there's so little. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Oh, that's so sick.
Wow.
Look at that. I declare this Brecken 1.
Can you actually rename them? Because I will absolutely rename them. Okay.
But if we write down this, so the thing is that everyone on Space Engine has the same seed. So right now, I guarantee you're the only person who's discovered this planet. And so if you write down it's RS12353632, that is
plant the flag.
Yeah, we can plant the flag. This is Brecken 1.
A lot of storms on Brecken 1. A lot of
storms on Earth 1.
Unrest. Well, that's true.
Land on it. Let's see what it looks like with the rings in the sky.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, we've crashed. Or maybe not, actually. Let's see. Yeah, okay, there we are.
I really hope that we can.
Okay.
The game is really chugging for us.
Yeah, I know. It'll catch up momentarily, I'm sure.
Brecken 1 is not, it's got a lot of greenery, but not a lot of water. Doesn't seem like it has big oceans. Seems like, Okay,
I'll let this, it's I think what it's doing is like generating textures and things for, okay.
Oh, hey, Zero.
Oh, hey, Zero. Okay. Like, I can't watch chat, but you're running the chat today, Kevin. Okay.
I guess
okay.
So, yeah.
You should probably be seeing some kind of land at this point.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I see some mountains. We should change our exposure settings so that we don't
it's pretty gross.
blow out our camera right now.
Yeah.
Especially because I think it's the daytime. Oh, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a Milky Way bar or something.
Yeah. It's a fine planet. I mean, it's a little bit this looks like a spore planet.
Yeah, it looks like it's made in. What's that? Bryce 3D.
Yeah.
Can you look? So it looks like we have water, seas. Atmosphere composition is very. Oh, now you've clicked on the star again.
Oh shoot.
Click on the planet you're standing on. I think that'll. Nope. Maybe that won't.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I've got it. It's probably gonna take a second, but it'll pop up here.
Because I want to look what If this is so this is generating a planet right now from the seed. Yes. Mm-hmm. And if you were to go in your seed and find this object, it would also be there. It's kind of like No Man's Sky, and then it generated one seed. And what's neat is that I wonder if you can see that the problem is that your computer chugs when it works with this. But man, it'd be really cool to see what it would look like with the rings, because that's like a thing that we don't have. Also this object has moons, right? As the gravity is like
2
1
moons.
times Earth gravity. This is so much like our planet.
Okay, so you can see the rings here. It'll catch up hopefully. Relatively shortly, but
its Earth similarity index is 97%. It's so close. Its mass is 1 Earth mass. You found a killer planet, man.
I'm very happy with this planet. It's
What's our temperature? Well, right now it's -12, so this maybe is not the best place. But
I'm going to zoom out a little bit and see if I can get the stream going again, because it feels like maybe things are okay.
Earth would have rings, abominable, if we had moons crash into each other. Oh, there's the rings. rings generally are formed when you have collisions that spread out material in the same way I was talking about with the galaxy, but spread out material in one direction. And so like if you were to go out and blow up the moon, we'd get a cool ring. We'd have a huge amount of problems when a bunch of that material would then crash into the planet and destroy all life. But for a little bit, it'd be very pretty until life was extinguished. Here's another thing. I wonder if you can shift H to the Milky Way and then look at it and see if you can see the Milky Way from.
Okay. I'm gonna pull out from the high def landscape and see if we can get this.
We should write down this planet because I think
okay,
that like.
There we go.
Oh yeah, there it is. So that's our entire galaxy seen from Brecon 1. Just like our galaxy Andromeda is seen, and you can see the disk of Andromeda stretching up, straight above us, right? From the rings of, there it is. And like, I bet if you were to like shift H twice to Earth or to the sun, you can now center on the sun and then start doing that telescope zoom. Use your, the Brecon Space Telescope in orbit around Brecon 1 to. Actually, I'm going to name the space telescope after me. It's the Hainline Space Telescope.
Sure, yeah, you can have the telescope. I get the planet. You can. Yeah. I'm fine giving up the telescope. It looks like we've got some dust in our path.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
But you can't like it. This would be as good as you could do, and it probably would be a thing where this isn't even doing a proper job simulating of like. You would be what we call confusion limited at this distance, where there'd be so many stars you could not actually distinguish between the stars. We have pictures of Andromeda from the Milky Way with Hubble, and like there are so many points of light that are individual stars that it becomes very difficult to write software to distinguish the light from individual stars. It's really crazy. Well, Brecon 1 is pretty cool, I have to say.
Yeah, no, it's I like it. It's not a lot of ocean, but that's fine. I mean, it's a population of just me, so.
No, it had multicellular life, so it's you and some multicellular life.
Oh well, okay.
I think it said complex multicellular life too.
That's fine.
Yeah, multicellular, marine, and terrestrial. You got it all, man.
All right. What is this guy out here?
So those must be other nebulae that have been richly generated. So what I want to do now is when we say goodbye to Brecon 1 is let's look at M82.
Okay.
So James Webb would actually, LD, help look for obscured objects or look through dust because of the infrared wavelengths, and help us actually see through dust bands. You can look up pictures from the Spitzer Space Telescope, which was also an infrared space telescope, but much, much smaller, to see how it might help. So now I think you're zooming in on it, but you should actually fly there.
Okay, we're gonna fly. Here, let's put that zoom. We gotta reset our exposure as well. Okay.
Well, M82 is not just like a. Well, actually, I think it's M83, right? Yeah. M82.
Oh, I know this guy, or at least
M82 is a very famous galaxy.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing here is you're seeing the fact that M82 is what we call a starburst galaxy. So ramp up your exposure so that you can really see this this outflow. But what you're seeing is an hourglass-shaped outflow from the fact that the center of the galaxy is making a huge number of stars. It's a starburst galaxy right now, so it has hundreds of stars being formed every year. And when you have that much star formation, it starts to blow gas out of the galaxy in what we call outflows. And you're seeing excited hydrogen gas in this image that are outflows from the centers of this galaxy. We probably have outflows as well, but nothing near this way. Our galaxy makes maybe 1 star a year, a half a star a year, so 1 every 2 years. This one's making much, much more. And in the history of the galaxy, in the universe, maybe 9 billion years ago, all galaxies are forming this many stars, including our own. But this one is just a late bloomer, and it's forming a huge amount. You can kind of fly around and see the hourglass, the structure of it, which is pretty cool.
We can go from the other side here. Oh man.
M82, I think. So M82 also has a supermassive black hole at the very center.
Oh, really? Here, let's. I think I've missed it, Kevin. I don't know how I missed the supermassive black hole, but I think I still have it.
It's because it's very, very small compared with the rest of the galaxy.
Okay, so I've just got to travel further in then.
Yeah, so like what you want to do is stop and look up at the distance indicator up in the top left corner.
Mm-hmm.
And so now there's the central star cluster that's around this black hole. But if you like slow yourself down and try to get there really close, it is actually an enormous black hole. It's just like really hard when you're flying this fast and the rest of the galaxy is so big. But this is the thing. Everyone asks, are we going to crash into the black hole at the center of a galaxy, or is it going to pull us in? We don't feel it at all, right? You're pulled by gravity by your chair more than by the black hole at the center of the galaxy. So now you've passed it.
I passed it, yeah.
Yeah, because you notice
I am locked on the center, but...
slow down. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I see.
2.
Okay.
Is there a black? There should be a black hole at the center of the galaxy. It may not be at the exact center of what they refer to.
I mean, I wonder. I think some of the rotation points are maybe a little off.
Exactly.
I think that's why we're having trouble with the asteroids and other objects.
Anyway, this is the central star cluster, and it probably also has, similar to our galaxy, orbits around as well, which is pretty cool. But like, notice you see all of the nebulosity here. I don't think you would see this unless you had really nice vision for this. But I think one of these, maybe the one that's, it's hard to find. I found it earlier when I was playing around, but like, I don't know if it's inside of if it's searchable. But what you might want to do now is look up Hoag's galaxy, Hoag. What's annoying is that like galaxies have a lot of really cool structure, but it's not simulated really a lot. Hoag's object, sure.
Hoag's object, okay.
Yeah. So Hoag's object is like a pretty cool one, and I'll let you see if you can figure out why.
There's a few stars out there.
No, those are galaxies, man.
Or galaxies, yeah.
Every one of those dots is a galaxy they're simulating.
That is the thing that actually destroyed me the first time I went to a digital planetarium. Just knowing that those aren't stars, that they're actually just full galaxies.
Yep. When you're in our galaxy, you zoom past stars. But when we're outside the galaxies, we're zooming past individual galaxies. It's ridiculous. So this is Hoag's object. Kind of different than the other galaxies we were looking at, right?
Yeah.
Not a spiral. You've got your central, what we call a elliptical galaxy there, and then you have this ring of star formation and dust, right? So the blue means that it's young stars, it's star formation, and astronomers don't exactly know how this object formed this way. There's some theories that perhaps it was a thing where a galaxy had a collision with another galaxy that hollowed out the core or mixed the core up, but it didn't affect the outside. But like gravitationally, it's really tough to do simulations to create things like this. There are objects called polar ring galaxies that are kind of similar, but like this is what it actually looks like in space. It's got this weird ring of stars around it, and we don't exactly know, it's called Hoag's object because it was discovered by someone named Doug Object. That is a really bad Jungle Cruise joke.
No, I love it. I love it. It's the backside of Hoag's object.
It's Schweitzer Falls, named after Albert Falls. And I just I think that like it's a bummer that so little is actually simulated in this, and yet this is like one of the few things it is. Which is pretty cool. But you can do the same thing we just did which is what amazing about Space Engine is we could go into the galaxy and then find another temperate planet like we just did, right? Like you can go into the disk of this and like it suddenly starts to simulate. Maybe let's go to the center. Let's see what's in the center of this giant blob of. So the reason it's a blob is because it doesn't have angular momentum. It's not rotating generally.
I'm sure this looks like a little gross on the stream, but just seeing, like I'm barely rotating, and there are just so many stars that are whipping around.
Exactly.
Here, let's click this guy. This little cluster. Whoa! I gotta slow down my speed there. Cluster. Yeah, I gotta slow down my. Whoa!
If you just click G, you can go there, right? You can
that's true. I suppose.
So here they're simulating what's called a globular cluster. Globular clusters have 100,000 stars. Those stars were born together.
Jesus.
They've lived their entire lives together. They'll die together. A lot of stars have died in this cluster, which is why it's very red, because you're just seeing older stars. And if we go into it, we could find a planet in here, which might be fun, and land on the planet and see what it would look like to be on a planet where this is what's your night sky.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It just looks...
So here, pull up your
all right, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Planet Finder thing that we did, which is above the magnifying lens, and you should still have a filter in there.
Wait, that's the solar system browser. Wait, that's find object star browser.
Right
okay.
above the.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just do a
clear.
Again. Well, yeah, we'll clear and then search. Okay, yeah. All right, I'll just pick
Let's find another. Let's find Brecon 2.
Yeah. Okay. And
notice there's no G-type stars here. It's M, K, F. There's a couple G's, but like G's are more rare because those stars would have died already in this. So now if we go there and then look at the solar system browser, this one's near the edge. It looks like. Whoa, we're outside of the thing.
Oh, did we pop out?
That's okay. Maybe it just found a G-type star. Maybe you had to change
it just popped out here. I think maybe.
Whoa! It'd still be kind of cool to look at what it looks
like.
No,
let's see what it does. Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look up at the top, you see that we've got the G-type stars, the A star. This is also a binary star system, which is kind of dope. But let's go click on the pedestal one again. So you want to find the actual. So to the left, above the magnifying lens, like 2 or 3.
Oh, right. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So now we've got to find the one by clicking on it to see which one, like all the planets.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know which one. There's ones that are orbiting the barycenter, it looks like, which means that what this is you have 2 stars that are orbiting each other. There are planets orbiting each individual star, and then there are planets that are orbiting the whole system. So that one is a cool super Jupiter.
Looks like this might be our...
Sure, temperate marine super Terra.
Yeah.
Why not? There's Brecon 2. So let's go there.
Okay. Boom. Oh, rings. More rings. Hey, you guys, is this chugging or is this
It's chugging a little bit.
Okay.
This one has much more water, but not a lot of greenery. There's no life on it.
Oh, there's no life on this? Okay.
It's okay. Up at the top, you could see where it'll say if there's life. This one has an Earth similarity index of 84%. It's fine. You don't need life.
Let's see. Where's the
frigid? You don't want those ones.
The
ones that are orbiting the barycenter, those ones in the middle, they're so far from the 2 stars that they're not going to have. Just cool super Neptune.
Where is the life reading?
So if it did have life, where it says class, it would say, now it says cold mega Neptune up in the top left corner.
Oh, okay.
It would say with multicellular life or whatever. So I think the one that you were actually looking at was the Terra.
That's the one that we searched for?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can look at any one of them. We don't, it's not like if you land there you're gonna actually talk with any of the aliens.
No, we can jump into this guy here.
Yeah. Mostly we wanna land.
I want to land on the other side here so we can
yeah.
Here, I think this is probably
sure.
Find out. Let's find out. Let's crash the stream for a minute and we'll find out. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, I'm seeing an amazing thing, but I'll wait for you all.
Foo40 asks, would the cluster be brighter than the star? And I think we should look. We should see. And remember, it's 2 stars. We've got like a double sun on our little planet here.
I'm gonna just pause moving things around and hopefully
because like right now we're still just seeing Brecon 2.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even landed yet. Poor Twitch. Oh my God, we got
Jesus.
Aurora.
Yeah.
Look at that. Change the
exposure.
The exposure a little bit.
You want up or down?
Let's go to like the lame version where, But yeah, this is what it would look like on our planet at night from a dark sky. This would be too dark, within but essentially yes. Yeah. Because you can see the aurora there. So, when you see pictures and you see people seeing the aurora, but imagine you lived on a planet around 2 stars, around 1 star with another binary star companion on the edge of a globular cluster.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
I once in grad school, we had to calculate what, if you were in the center, and generally, how bright it would be. At night, it would be about as bright as the half full moon or the full moon all the time from the stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, weren't they talking about, there's that star that they're talking about maybe going supernova within the next so many millions of years right now. I forget which star, but they're saying if it were to go supernova, then you would essentially be like a sunny day all day for X number of
Not a sunny day.
Not a sunny day?
You know how the full moon gives you a shadow like that. That one star would give you a shadow in the same way that the full moon would. It would not be sunny.
It would not be sunny. Okay.
Yeah. Fufo points out that the atmospheric pressure on this planet is 178 times the atmospheric pressure on Earth. So this might not be the greatest place for us to hang out too long. but like it's pretty neat to get to the aurora and to have rings and stuff.
Yeah.
Betelgeuse will go boom at some point in the next 1,000 to 100,000 years. So that's relatively soon in astronomy terms.
Oh, so it's Betelgeuse that I was reading about then. Yeah.
Exactly. We can only say it one more time, or else we get to meet.
Okay. God, this is insane. I mean, it really is wild to think about like what that would look like.
Right? I mean, we didn't even find one in the center. Try and find a planet near.
Yeah,
the
let's do that. Let's do that. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to take too much time. I it's been a couple hours. I'm having a lot of fun. This is really cool, but
Yeah. Here, let's just
zoom in and get right there in the center.
Okay.
And then let's change. You can just like fly the other direction. There you go.
Yeah. This is probably maybe a little bit further in. Okay. Yeah.
Like,
okay.
This
seems fine. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Now, when you do your search in the left, make it so that 100 light years is like 10 light years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Hello.
This might be.
So now,
all right. This is probably fine.
Yeah. Everything's
okay.
an
We're
star
definitely in the center.
of this.
Okay. So then we do start.
Find our little. Oh, look at all these planets. Oh, this is like a really temperate marine Terra. That works.
Is that our candidate?
I'm gonna stand up for a second. All right, I can't stand up because I'm on camera, so I will sit back down. I'm realizing, like, my watch is telling me that I need to stand up. Hey,
it's yeah. Okay.
Reckon 3.
Okay, so. Oh my God.
Whoa. Brecken 3. You can start naming the continents.
Wait, what?
You can't, but like.
Oh, okay.
Like you could here.
Oh,
we
you
could
could
name
in the
after,
sense that yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's Problem Machine Ania. It's a new Patreon tier. Get your name,
Right. Yeah. Okay. This is gonna take a second again, but wow. All right, hold on. Rendering.
I mean, one star is real close because the planets are orbiting the stars still, right? The planets are formed. They're not just free floating. They're generally orbiting stars. So there's going to be one star, but generally if you thought the night sky was pretty from our galaxy, it can be prettier. Like you can see the band of the galaxy. Again, this one must have a ring system as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of these. The thing is that at this time in the evolution, this planet is probably pretty old. It's around an older M-type star that's pretty faint. You can see that it's 17 degrees Celsius right now with 220 atmospheres of pressure. So this is also not the greatest place to live. Problem Machine will be a benevolent ruler of Problem Machinania.
Oh my God.
I'm
just gonna leave it on this view. It's gonna probably take a second to catch up, but that is so stars.
So if you notice it says solar day infinite, that's because this planet is what's called tidally locked, meaning one side is always facing towards the sun and is slowly baking away, and the other side is always facing away, like the moon is to us. So its solar day is infinite. Does not have a day where the sun goes around. But look at all those stars.
Oh, we shouldn't live here. I mean, I don't know. My days feel like they are infinite right now. Well, actually, they feel like they're very finite, but also, yeah. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, this planet has 6 moons. We only have the 1. And it probably, if you increase your exposure, you could really just blow out.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, someone's in a time zone right now where they can, I don't know, just take this all in. Like this game, by the way, if you are a person who gets excited about drugs. This is a game that like really.
That is not what I thought you were going to say, Kevin. But
no, I just like
as an upstanding professor.
I'm like legal drugs for people at home, but like I'm just letting you know, like in terms of a game where you just can fly around the universe and like find new planets to land on. Like there's a whole cottage industry of people online who just like find interesting new Earths and take cool screenshots. Look at those moons. You can see the moons that are.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to click on one here and we'll travel to it.
Cool asteroid.
Oh, that's a cool.
That's what it's called. Cool asteroid.
Oh, it is. Oh, I thought you were just like cool asteroid. No, it's actually called cool asteroid. Okay.
Who wants this in the chat? Who's willing to subscribe or give a couple of like what do they call it? Gift subscriptions to someone so that they can get this cool asteroid? Oh, Potato
wants this asteroid.
Yeah. There you go. Potatoes. He named it Allard 1. Space Potato. Yeah, exactly. This is Potato Space Potato. Perfect. Oh, it's so hard when all the stars are blinking in and out. This is so nice.
Yeah, it's really, really
I mean, this is not unheard of. Mars has 2 cool asteroids, essentially, Phobos and Deimos, that are its moons. Captured asteroids.
Oh, wow. Interesting underside there, Potato. Should we go somewhere else, Kevin?
Yeah. If you want to go back into our galaxy,
yeah,
we can go look at a couple other things. Let's look at NGC 2808.
Oh, okay.
I reckon too.
NGC 2808.
2808.
Okay. Whoa. Let's reset that.
Yeah, we're entirely a different galaxy, so we have to go back to our own galaxy. My list is running out because, I thought correctly that we would be spending a lot of time in black clusters and in the black hole.
And waiting for my computer to catch up.
Yeah.
It's funny. Maybe we'll do this again sometime when I'll set up a second PC to do the rendering, and that way we can really push.
Oh no, this is just another globular cluster. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Let's look up 6543, NGC 6543. This is a globular cluster in our own galaxy. This is a real one. It's very similar.
6543, you said?
Yeah, 6543.
Zip us there. Okay. Oh. Somewhat familiar, I think.
Yeah, so if you zoom out, this is the Eye Nebula.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be exactly the same thing you might remember, but they're trying to simulate a 3-dimensional version of the Eye Nebula. This is a very cute, the actual Hubble image is very, very pretty. But essentially what this is called, this is a planetary nebula. And the reason we call it a planetary nebula is because when we first looked at these, they looked green, blue, purple in ways that we thought was because of the same light that planets have, but it's not actually a planet. It's a nebula, meaning that the light is excited, like I was talking about earlier. The green is oxygen, the red is the hydrogen, I was saying. And what you're actually seeing is late in a star's life, like our own sun, when right now it's taking hydrogen and turning it into helium in its core. Eventually, to run out of that hydrogen, it'll start turning helium into carbon in its core, and then that process generates more energy or more light. That process only happens when the star is hotter in the core, which means when it's hotter, it pushes the star's envelope out and it gets larger. When the star runs out of helium, it starts trying to burn carbon, but it can't, and then the core gets very hot and forms what we call a white dwarf, and around it just pushes out all the outer layers into space. And what you're seeing here is the result of the outer layers of a star puffed out into space with the central white dwarf star. So I bet in the very center of the cat's eye, if we were to zoom into that little structure down there, you'd find the white dwarf star that was the remnant star from this whole process. It might be hard to see because white dwarfs are very small. Oh, there it is.
Oh, no, there it is. Yeah. Oh, whoop, I've gone past it here. Let me slow down a bit.
So that white dwarf star is maybe the size of the Earth. It's composed entirely of carbon in a kind of crystal structure. Click on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's a white dwarf. It's.
Let's just zip to it. Yeah. Okay.
The white dwarf star has incredible. It's very bright. But it's very small, so it's not very bright in respect to, it's incredibly hot. It's just not very bright because it's a very, very small structure. But that is a star, that is essentially the leftover star core, the carbon core from the white dwarf.
Looks like there are some, a planet here?
And so the thing is that this star probably had planets around it. Those planets are probably long dead. Because the star has died and now you're left with just this white dwarf putting off a huge amount of ultraviolet and optical light. And that probably doesn't do great, in all that UV light to kill the planet. But we've seen white dwarfs. We've actually seen, we astronomers have observed white dwarf, their atmospheres having like minerals in it that would be indicative of if they ripped up planets or if they ripped up asteroids that fell onto them. Because white dwarfs are very pure. If you see any impurity, non-carbon, non-hydrogen, it's got to be from it swallowing something else, generally a planet. So if we were to land on this temperate, arid subterra here, we could look and see what it would look like to have a white dwarf, above our head. Not a fun place to land on, or not a fun place to live. This place has a 0.08008 atmospheres, meaning the atmosphere was entirely either never existed or was blown away by the star.
I attempted to land on it, Kevin, and then I think I blew through it or something. Oh, there we are. Okay, let's.
So if you click on it, and then what I want you to do is in the bottom, there's like a little thing, like on the bottom panel, like not the left side panel. There's a bottom one that has like a land on object.
Oh, okay. Is it the bottom left or the bottom right?
Bottom left.
Oh, bottom left. Okay, sorry. Oh yeah, land on object. There we go.
So this should allow you to land on the object, and you can look up, unless it's now broken the program trying to.
I think it's successful, but we may have landed on the side that the star is not on.
My frothing demand for this atmosphere.
Here, let's find the right side. I think it's. Oh,
it's because it's dark or whatever.
Yeah.
But this would be living inside of on a planet near a white dwarf star inside of a planetary nebula, which is kind of like what will be our situation in, say, 6-7 billion years.
Okay, we've got to find the
white dwarf.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so I should be able to just. Oh my god. I should be able to just.
It's
go to this
kind of
now,
ungainly, this game.
And then okay, so this should be the lit side, and then I can just land on it from here.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's.
There we
It's
are.
got a moon. This planet has a moon. Oh, that's no moon.
Okay, I've got it now. This is we're on the surface here.
Yeah. There's the white dwarf, and you can see the nebulosity from the It does have a little moon. Pretty cool. Yeah, look at that moon. Yeah. Is that 2 moons?
Yeah, it looks like 2. Let's see. I'll click on this guy here. Cool Jupiter. And,
so that's another planet.
Temperate asteroid.
Yeah, so there's your asteroid moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is pretty close. It's only 3,000 kilometers away, 4,000 kilometers away.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. So anyway, that was one of the things. And now I think if you want to look at NGC 7293, it might just be another planetary nebula. But it's cute that they do all of these.
Sorry, what was that? What was the number again?
7293, NGC 7293. It's so neat to fly through the Milky Way.
I know. I really I'm gonna just let it go because it's so interesting.
It's always fun also to, when you're at these places, to look back at the Earth,
Mm-hmm.
to just kind of orient yourself to where you are with respect to.
Oh wow.
Aha! So here's another planetary nebula. This is the Helix Nebula. This is maybe the most famous planetary nebula. I don't like this. I think it's fine, but this is a very similar thing. The reason why these two things look different, well, the reason why it looks like this is because they've simulated it in as simple as they could.
Right.
But the reason why they look different between each other is because when you get the light from, like when you get the light, when the gases outflow from the white dwarf, when the outer layers puff out, they run into other bits of, gas and dust that have also been belched out by the star to begin with, which causes it, to have an interesting new shape, each one of these. But again, you're just seeing excited gas similar to the other nebula that you saw. But, if you really want to learn about the properties of this excited gas, you should look up Donald Osterbrock's book. As a person who has multiple copies on my shelf, because the properties of ionized gas in planetary nebula are very similar to the ionized gas that are kicked up by active galaxies. It's all a complicated physics mess, but it's pretty cool because it underpins a lot of the really cool colors you see in astronomy images. Let's look up a supernova remnant. Let's find one. If I can find, what's Tycho's supernova? Let's go to Cassiopeia A. Yeah. Hopefully it's simulated well. Yeah. Oh, Cass A. Cass A is one of the greats, man.
Wait a minute. Okay, let's.
Oh, now you've clicked on something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
Now
Oh, Yep. Now I'm just good. There we go. Okay.
Oh yeah. So this is not a planetary nebula. This is a supernova remnant.
Wow.
So what you're seeing here is when a star that's bigger than our sun hits the end of its life, it doesn't get to carbon and go, I can't fuse carbon. It goes, I can take carbon, I can turn that into a bunch of other stuff. I can go on and on and on and on and on, all the way to iron. Iron's at the tip of a thing called the curve of binding energy, which is a thing where if you have atoms and you break them apart, you produce energy. As you go to heavier and heavier elements, like helium splits apart, like to make hydrogen, these other things. Uranium splits apart to make later elements. But if you take hydrogen and push it together, it makes energy. On the other direction, these two processes, fusion and fission, come together, and the peak is iron. You can't split iron apart to make energy. You can't push two irons together to make energy, which means that when the core is iron, you cannot make energy anymore. And the star's core then can't support the star. The star collapses, rebounds off of that collapsed core in a shockwave that explodes. And what you're seeing here is you're seeing the shockwave of light traveling out, and it's hit a certain shell of the gas and excited the gas around it. You're not seeing the gas being blown away. You're seeing the current light shockwave, meaning if we looked at Cass A in the future, the light would have moved on to other gas around it, and on and on and on. And in the center of that would be the black hole remnant. Either a black hole, I think it might just be a neutron star. I think that'd be a lot harder to see because unlike a thing that's the size of the Earth, like a white dwarf, neutron stars are the size of Chicago. It might be that object there. I don't actually know. Is that, if you click on it, does that say neutron star?
It's orange dwarf.
No, it's not it then.
Yeah.
It must just be a star that was around it. But Cass A is like a really cool object, and you're seeing this, Sir Slade asked if I have a favorite object in space, and that's complicated. It's likely like a boring answer. Like, I think Mars is really amazing. I've always thought Mars is really amazing. We've looked at some of the other cool objects already. My brain is currently like hitting its
theoretical limit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I think we can call it whatever you want, Kevin. Just don't feel like you need to destroy yourself here.
Yeah, it's cool that you're looking at. That's Andromeda out behind it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was zooming in on Andromeda there. It's really interesting that visible from.
Is Tycho supernova the one that Tycho supernova was, which is B Cass, which is another one. I wonder if SN 1572 is in there.
There's the Milky Way.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're in it, right?
Yeah.
So look up SN 1572, SN space 1572.
SN space 1572. Okay.
Yeah, so this is Tycho supernova. This is the supernova that Tycho Brahe discovered. And it's a type 1A supernova, so it's actually a different thing. It's a white dwarf that had a companion that fed it until it exploded. So, like, the star had died, its companion continued feeding gas onto the surface until that gas ignited and caused this explosion. And the reason we call them nova is because of this object, because he saw it, he said it was a nova stella, new star. And
interesting.
The last one is SN 1054, which is like maybe my other favorite object, Sir Slade. 54 there? Not there. What?
Here, let's.
CM Tau? That's a bummer that 1054 is not in there. 1054 is one of these objects that was a Crab pulsar. Look up Crab Nebula. That's a look up.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm a dummy. I'm talking about So the Crab Nebula is like the remnant of a supernova that went off in 1054. And in China, they recorded the sky incredibly in detail. And they, in 1054, wrote down the existence of a guest star, this object that was not there, because they were seeing the supernova happen. They were seeing the star explode.
Oh, that's
we
crazy.
think, although it may not be true, that Native Americans in Arizona also saw this star and recorded it, but like we know, and so you're seeing here now the remnant. It's not nearly as pretty as the actual, astronomy images, because you see a lot of more of the nebulosity. If you crank up I think that must be the supernova remnant right there, that bright object in the center. But what's cool is if you were to look at this object now and look at the kinematics, meaning the motions of the gas and their velocities. Yes, there's the neutron star. That's the remnant.
Oh god. Let's turn that exposure down.
Whoa!
Yeah, well, we are okay, there we are.
And so what you're actually seeing here is a neutron star. It has an accretion disk as well. These jets are from the fact that it's doing a very similar thing, ripping particles off of the accretion disk and sending them up into space. If this thing is the Crab pulsar, and it is an object where it's rotating so fast that you're seeing those jets like hit you as they rotate around, and it's happening. Like if you were to, I guess you turn this on or whatever, you could like spin around and it would be flicker, flick, and like, yeah, oh man, if you make time go, oh yeah, look, there's the pulsar, sick. So that it's spinning 1,000 times a second, an object the size of Chicago made entirely of neutrons. And it is the remnant of the core that collapsed after the supernova, and it, again, conservation accretion of angular momentum, caused it to spin up so fast that it's, currently in this state. And if you were to look at the kinematics of the gas cloud and trace it backwards, you'd see that all the gas, if you traced it to when it must have exploded, it was 1054. Like, we've positively identified that this is the object that, like, this is the process that happened that causes explosion that the Chinese saw in 1054. It's really incredible. So this is one of my other favorite objects in space. You're gonna have to change your exposure settings again to see the nebulosity better, but I think that might be where
Crazy.
We're reaching diminishing returns on space engine for the time being.
Wow, that's incredible. This tool is so interesting. How Kevin, I haven't really had any chance to ask you any questions, but do you know in terms of space engine, right? Do you know are most of the galaxies that have been mapped inside of this, or are there massive gaps?
There's
still
enormous
gaps. Enormous gaps. Yeah.
So with stars, generally we have an all right understanding of stars. So the way that the procedural generation has to work is there's objects we observe, and those objects go into catalogs. Those catalogs are generally put in here Hipparcos. There's a lot of objects in here that are HIP, which stands for Hipparcos. Hipparcos was a telescope that mapped a bunch of positions and distances to stars. It's been replaced by Gaia, which has done it as well. But we only know those down to a faint limit. So if you're doing the procedural generation, you're going to have to take objects and add them that are fainter than objects that we should have seen in our own galaxy, right?
Right.
And then around the stars, generally we've added a bunch of planets based on our observations of planets. For galaxies, there's not as many great catalogs that the guy who made this could have imported.
Okay.
There's the NGC catalog. There's the Messier objects. There's a bunch of, but there's not a lot of like big catalogs, especially like you could put in Sloan. But the thing is that there's 100 billion galaxies in our universe, and so like adding them all in is pretty difficult, especially because we don't know as much. Like a star is easy. You just like make a bright point source and say, all right, what class is it based on its temperature?
Right.
With a galaxy, there are different shapes and stuff, which is why galaxies are a little bit less well rendered, why we only looked at a couple of them, and they're mostly the very nearby ones. But like galaxies are not nearly as accurate, and so a lot of the galaxies that you see in here are procedurally generated.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's still a really impressive tool. I mean, this was so interesting. Thank you so much, by the way, for taking 2 hours. I didn't even realize the time was like flying by here, but I didn't want to drag it down even more by being an idiot. But man, I feel like I have a million questions for you, and maybe we can do this again sometime. That would be
Well, this was really, really fun. I'm planning on also doing streams like this. I have like on individual objects and stuff. So you can follow me on Twitter, which is just my name, Kevin _Hainline. And like I have I also stream on Twitch, but mostly it's Mario Maker. Stream a lot of troll levels, which is like one of my favorite things. I haven't done it in a couple weeks, but you can follow me and like on YouTube.
Here, this is Kevin _ Hainline
on Twitter,
and then and on Twitch you're
Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Which a totally different thing, but I plan on streaming this as well. So this is my, I guess.
Oh, thank you for actually linking that. That would help. But I'll bake this into the video in case anybody's watching. Man, God.
I don't know if they have M87. If you want to do one more thing, go look at the black hole at M87, which is the black hole that we actually had a photograph last year.
Oh yeah.
It's a very nearby massive black hole. It's one of the two. The next one we're going to get at that is going to be a Sagittarius A star we did, and like what you saw in that M87 picture is so M87 is not like our galaxy. It's an elliptical. You can see that it doesn't have all the star forming. It's like a big ball of gross old star. Not gross. I shouldn't judge those stars. A ball of older stars. And at the very center is a super massive black hole, much more massive than our own. And they imaged accretion around, onto it. So now you're going to have to again, 50, 40, 30, 20 kilolight years. Yep. So we're 8,000 parsecs, which is 24,000 24 kilolight years from the center. So you can kind of figure that out based on how far away you are up in the top left corner.
Wow.
Yeah, there's an S in that Rubik's Cube, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, whoops.
It's after the S. It's the worst. I was 13 and I was done.
Hold on, I'm gonna fix it. So it's after the X? Really?
It's after the X.
Oh,
yes.
Right. No, Rubik's Cube. Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't. It's again. We do stupid things when we're. What was your name? You Ratso Fatso Ratso.
We don't need to go into that. Okay. Let me. Oh wait.
Now you've clicked on the white giant, so you're not actually.
Oh gee.
Yeah, this is hard to do.
Well,
I don't know what M87.
Yeah, it's tough because you want to.
Click on something. Yeah.
Well, I'm just. Oh God. Okay.
All right, so there's the central cluster, and so we're getting really close. They try and stick a cluster because that's generally, but the black hole should be somewhere in there, and I don't think they're gonna. It'd probably be if they simulate it very similar to the one. This is why it's very hard to find. Yeah, it looks like is there space engine M87 black hole? I wonder if they do simulate the M87 black hole. How do you actually get to that? What is it listed under here?
Could we do the search?
It might be.
Filter settings, I guess this is just planet search, huh?
Yeah. Object to search for doesn't matter. All stars, can you?
Just do a general all star search.
Well, no, it might be. I wonder how you get to. I want to find someone's video of them going to it and to see what it's actually called. Because there's a 4K Space Engine YouTube video of it, but it doesn't have a label.
Maybe real stars only, perhaps?
No, that's going to turn off. No, maybe this is only looking at stars. Yeah, that's disappointing. You can't look for...
Wait, black hole. System's main star black hole?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Just...
Click OK and search.
Oh, there are a lot.
Let's look at the one that is. Can you sort by apparent magnitude? Find the lowest number.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know which one of these. These are all made up stuff, but sure, it'll be a black hole. Maybe it doesn't actually have the black hole here. There you go. Sure, why not?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get close and find out together.
There was an entry that said M87 central black hole in the list.
Oh, there was one?
Yeah, so let's go back to search. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Goldman.
All right, well.
Oh yeah, it's right there.
Whoops. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. It's massive. There's an accretion disk, my dude.
Wow.
Oh,
Oops,
with all
oops,
those.
Oops. Yeah.
I guess this is where we just stop, you know?
Yeah, I know. This is definitely a good final moment here. Here, can we turn on the time scale? Let's see. Will this actually?
Let's get the time going. Let's get all that accretion just like flowing around. This one doesn't have a jet, it looks like, which is weird because M87 has an enormous jet. If you Google right now, people watching at home, M87 like the Galaxy, you'll see the pictures of the jet, and like compared with the size of the Galaxy, the jet is just enormous.
Oh
so
my
like
God.
this thing is kicking up a crazy huge jet. Look at that! Look at how they're simulating this.
Yeah, I know.
This
that's
is so
that's
much
insane.
math. My first paper was on gravitational lensing of galaxies, and I'm sad that I don't think that they do they do this gravitational lensing, but they don't do like cosmic horseshoe.
So what did Interstellar mess up with this?
You see how bright it is? Interstellar didn't they put a bunch because it wouldn't be exciting to show how bright it should be. They made it a lot like they changed the exposure a lot.
Okay.
So it didn't seem, and then on top of that, there's no way that you can send he's talking with Anne Hathaway through his radio right up until he goes to the event horizon, and they don't.
And that's
they simulate some of the time dilation. I don't know how a planet could form and stay in orbit around a black hole. There's a lot of stuff. There's a paper that Kip Thorne wrote with all the math for this, but there's people who've been doing math for this. I mean, look, this is all the math you needed to do for the movie, right? And it's being done in this $20, $30 program.
Yeah, I remember being just even on an aesthetic level. I mean, I remember being a little disappointed. I mean, but I feel like I better let you go, Kevin. I know.
Mostly, I just need to eat some food.
Yeah.
But I have had a really fun time. We'll have to do it again, and I'll see you next time. And it's just a random person in your chat again.
Right. Well, thank you so much. This was really, really great. And have a good rest of your day, man. And thanks everybody for watching. This was a lovely way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Yeah, go watch Kevin's streams. This is the most informative, interesting shit in the world to me. Again, thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye, everyone. I'm just gonna end the stream, but goodbye, Kevin. I'm gonna just kill you. So...
Okay.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. This was an experiment, and I think despite my computer almost exploding, I think fairly successful. Man, did I get much louder? Okay, sorry, I'm very incredibly loud. Okay, let me turn myself down. It's probably because I'm doubling up or something. Anyway, I'm going to mute everything and then watch my volumes. Too loud still. Oh, what if I speak quietly? Why would I be much louder than normal? I'm not sure. Well, anyway, I will just quickly say goodbye and thanks for hanging out. This was again, in a fairly dodgy experiment. I think it actually worked out fine. So I would like to do more things like this. Please let me know if you think that this was fun as a concept in general. Yeah, I know I never gave Kevin his treats. What am I gonna do? I can't interrupt full professor with treats. What is that? Anyway. Anyway, take care, everybody. I will see you in Animal Crossing or whatnot. Yeah, I think this is it for me for the day. But tomorrow morning, I will see you for Animal Crossing nonsense. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you later. Goodbye. And thanks again to Kevin. That was awesome.